I walked back into the office the day after my mother's funeral, and the whole room froze. My badge clicked against the metal slot with a sharp, lonely sound, and a silence rolled across the floor like a blanket pulled over a stage. The fluorescent lights hummed with their low, steady buzz, and the faint scent of freshly brewed coffee drifted from the machine in the corner, the same scent that had filled the room for years when deadlines loomed. I stared at the bright white walls, the humming coffee machine, the same river view. Everything looked unchanged, but the people were different. Samira, my cube neighbor for 4 years, was at the coffee station, her mug clutched to her chest like a shield. "Hey, I'm back," I said, forcing a tired smile that felt like a mask. She stared at me for a heartbeat, her eyes flicking down to her own mug, then lifted it, turned away without a word. The pause stretched, heavy and unspoken, as if the connection we'd built over deadlines and late-night brainstorms had vanished in an instant. I could almost hear her thoughts, a quiet apology that never reached my ears. I knocked on Elena's office door, the manager who always greeted me with a cheerful "Morning, Alex." The door swung open for a split second, the familiar scent of her cologne filling the space, but she shut it the moment she saw me and never opened it again. The hallway smelled of paper and stale coffee, but the usual chatter had gone silent. My inbox told the rest of the story. 3 project folders I'd steered for 8 months were now marked restricted. My calendar was empty, and my name was gone from the thread that used to be my daily mantra. The day unfolded like a silent movie. In the 10 a.m. stand-up, our team lead, whose voice usually crackled with enthusiasm, skipped my name, treating me like a placeholder. "We'll move on with the current status," she said, pointing to the next slide, and the room shifted its focus to the next person. A guy from Ida lingered by my desk, his fingers tapping on the keyboard, then muttered, "Bold of you to show up," and walked away, leaving a faint echo of his footsteps in the hallway. By noon I was alone in the break room, watching the team I'd considered family gather at a distant table, laughing at something that no longer included me. The hum of the refrigerator sounded louder than usual. When Priya's laughter died mid-sentence and she glanced my way, the room seemed to hold its breath again, the collective exhale of the team hanging in the air like a fragile glass. I could hear the faint clink of glasses, the soft rustle of napkins, and the distant click of a copier, all underscoring the isolation I felt. Desperate for an answer, I cornered Darius, the newest analyst. He hadn't earned my trust yet, but he hadn't earned my hate either. "Darius, please, what's going on?" I whispered, my voice barely above a tremor. He glanced around, making sure no one was listening, then pulled up an email that had blasted the department last Friday. The subject line read, "Access revocation effective immediately." My stomach dropped. The email detailed the removal of my credentials, the deletion of my calendar events, and the reassignment of my client responsibilities to other team members. While I was mourning, the company had quietly erased me from its narrative. No one told me directly. They let the silence do the talking. Anger surged, but so did clarity. I could stay and let them keep treating me like a ghost, or I could walk out and reclaim the story they'd stolen. I left that afternoon with my badge still clipped to my jacket, the city lights reflecting off the river as if nothing had changed. I didn't look back. The next morning I sent a brief resignation email to the entire department, thanking them for the opportunities but stating that I could no longer work in an environment that preferred to mute, rather than communicate. The email was simple, its subject line a stark resignation, Alex Thompson. I hit send, feeling the weight lift from my shoulders like a heavy coat, finally released. The experience taught me a hard lesson. Loyalty isn't a given, it's earned through openness and respect. When tragedy strikes, people may try to protect themselves by erasing you from their world, but you hold the power to decide whether you stay in a place that no longer sees you. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away, close the door behind you, and write a new story on your own terms.